Jackson, to me, has been a fascinating figure, not just because he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but also because the fact he didn't run at the Combine, didn't run at the Pro Day. And I thought this was all based on, well, Bill Polian's going to come out and say that he shouldn't be just a quarterback in this league. He's going to show Bill Polian, and he's going to show all the NFL scouts that this is the way I want to do things. And this was in response to Bill Polian. But then I read Jonathan Jones's story in the SI.com called Lamar Jackson, his mother, and the plan they've always had. And I had to get Jonathan on the phone here on the Rich Eisen Show to talk about this remarkable piece you should all check out. Jonathan, thanks for calling in.
Rich, appreciate you having me on.
So the plan that they've always had was what? Lay it out here.
Well, look, he's a guy, he's always been the most athletic guy that's on his team. And you go back to high school, he transferred into a high school. He told the coach, I'm going to be your quarterback. Coach told him, look, kid, get in line. He sees him at spring practice, and he says, all right, yep, this kid's going to be my quarterback. But as we all know in high school, the best player on the team a lot of times goes and plays safety on third downs, in big games, or gets back there for a Hail Mary. Well, the coach thought about doing that. Mama, Felicia Jones, Lamar Jackson's mother, called the coach and said, Coach, we're not doing that. My son's a quarterback. And then she has Bobby Petrino promise her while sitting on their couch in the South Florida home that he's going to play Lamar Jackson at quarterback and quarterback only. Well, during a practice freshman year, they have him go back to punt returner, see what he can do, because they were struggling at that position. The mama, before they could really get back into the coaches' offices, coaches had a call from Felicia Jones. Punt returner doesn't look like quarterback to me, coach. And so for a very long time, Felicia Jones has had this plan that her son was going to be a quarterback, and so far that plan has paid off in the form of a Heisman Trophy-winning sophomore season, a better statistical season, as well as on film in his junior year, and now he's trying to be a first-round quarterback.
So this is the plan they've always had, and obviously it has worked out to this point. How is it working out as he is trying to be drafted as high as possible as a quarterback in the NFL without an agent and with his mom acting as such? Jonathan, there's been so much conversation that this is foolhardy when it all comes down to it. What can you tell me about how it is playing out in reality, boots on the ground here?
Well, certainly it would appear, or at least it sounds foolhardy coming from NFL types, coming from agents, of course. This is most certainly unconventional objectively. And so because it's unconventional, because it hasn't been done, a lot of people think that it shouldn't be done this way. Well, I don't know that it can't work. I mean, if you look at their history, a Heisman Trophy winning season, a first-round quarterback. He could be drafted anywhere really from kind of 12 to 32. I mean, that's a pretty good plan. And so if you believe that your plan has worked this long, I understand why you would believe it would continue to work. But, of course, the NFL is the big leagues. And so, teams are having trouble getting in touch with Felicia Jones and Lamar Jackson. I do not know because they are fiercely private and would not politely would not grant an interview to me for a number of requests that I asked for. So I don't know if this is they're difficult to get in touch with because they don't like answering their phones. I don't know if they're not picking up calls from teams that have established quarterbacks but are more willing to accept a call from, let's say, the LA Chargers, who have an aging quarterback in Phillip Rivers, 36, will be 37 at the end of the season. Certainly they met with him after the pro day. He's going to have a workout with the Dolphins, of course. A lot of people are looking at the Arizona Cardinals with Sam Bradford only being on a one-year deal. Is he more inclined to go to those places where he said, yeah, it's okay if I have to sit out for a year and be behind a veteran? But clearly, I think his camp wants him to be able to be in a position, just like when he was going to Louisville, where he has an opportunity to start, if not in year one, then certainly in year two.
Jonathan Jones of the MMQB and SI.com joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And it's inevitable. We're going to hear it. Helicopter mom, you don't want her around your organization. Look at Eli Apple's mom, blah, blah, and blah. How's that going to play out?
It's interesting, right? Because everyone wants to kind of compare her to an Eli Apple. Well, I even said that to one scout at Louisville's Pro Day, and they said, yeah, but Lamar Jackson's actually a good guy. Somebody said to me.
Wow.
People, I even had somebody compare her to a LeVar Ball or Todd Marinovich's dad. But, those folks were really in the eye of everything. They wanted to be out in front. They wanted to be spokespeople. Like I said, Felicia has had ample opportunity to put herself out there, to grab these endorsement deals, to do whatever she wants. And she has decided to stay private really throughout his college career, and certainly she's continuing that now. So is she this stage mom who just wants to be out front? I don't think so. But does that mean that she's not pulling the strings? Absolutely, she is.
Anything to the fact that he hasn't signed an endorsement deal yet? Anything on that front?
You know, it's strange. I thought for sure when he came out there in Adidas that he was going to put on some Adidas shoes, and he's an Adidas athlete, right? And then he puts on Nike cleats, and who knows what's going on. It seems like it's an easy check sitting out there. Another part of this unconventional deal that's going on where, again, are they driven by money? Well, it's an easy check just to sign with Adidas, Under Armour, or Nike, and so far it appears that they have not done it.
Is there just something based on your reporting that once upon a time somebody wanted to put Lamar Jackson in a box other than quarterback, and it scarred them or something? Obviously, look, it's the best, most well-paid position on the field, and obviously it's the one with the biggest spotlight, and you can get the biggest stage. I'm just wondering, you know, where it all started, potentially, Jonathan.
You know, certainly, you know, Bill Polian, when he said the wide receiver thing, then we had the report at the combine that teams were asking to have him work out there, and then he refuted that report, and then we all were trying to figure out, well, did teams ask him, or then we got into this big semantic battle, right? But as a lot of people when I was reporting this story said to me, I have no doubt that he could play wide receiver and that he could play wide receiver very well. I have no doubt he could be a great punt returner. This guy is really a dynamic, athletic playmaker. But his position's quarterback. That's what he knows how to play. And is he raw? Absolutely. So is every other quarterback in this draft to a certain degree. But I would say to them, he showed steady progression from freshman to sophomore to junior year. I thought he looked really good at pro day. If you're looking for somebody who, yes, he was raw going into Louisville, coming out of high school to where he is now and seeing that progression, that should be a positive to any decision maker.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. The guy's a dynamic player. He's spectacular, and we're talking about a 21st century league that takes more and more from the college game and puts it in. The RPOs, the Eagles just RPO'd their way with Nick Foles, who doesn't even give you the threat of the run all the way to the Super Bowl podium. And we saw what Deshaun Watson did last year when he got in. So last question for you here, Jonathan. I'm looking at the mock draft of Mel Kiper. He's got him 22 overall to the Bills. And then the mock draft of McShay's, these are just out today from ESPN, 29th overall to Jacksonville. Do you think that we'd be hearing about Lamar Jackson top 10 if he had the more conventional setup of agent pounding the table, talking to teams 24/7, 365 right now, as well as being easier to find, his client being easier to find? Do you think?
We're talking to teams and then also talking to media, right? Having a friendly agent, Rich, you know how the deal goes, right? The agent there's very much a you scratch my back, I scratch yours in a lot of sports media, certainly in NFL media, certainly with a lot of these super agents. So if he had one of these guys, and maybe he's influencing some of these people who are putting out mock drafts. But I'll tell you this, I'll be very surprised if he's lasting to 29, especially as we all consider that there's going to be a run on quarterbacks early on, that people are going to jostle to try to get into that top 5, top 6 for those 4 quarterbacks everyone seems to think are the top 4. I think that we're going to start getting into the teens, and folks are going to say, this guy is too dynamic. We love the 5th-year option too much. If he has to sit out a year, that's fine, but we have to have this guy on our team, and I don't think that he's going to make it to the 20s.
Yeah, I mean, why would Arizona pass on him on 15, right? Why?
Exactly.
My gosh. And then, you know, obviously the Chargers are sitting there at 17. If that's the team that kind of got past the, if you will, pearly gates, right, at the pro day, he's really special. I mean, when we chatted with him, right, Brockman, in his Heisman Trophy year.
We did.
Really enjoyed getting to know him and meet him. When it all said and done, Jonathan, how do you think his professional prospects will be in this league?
Well, you know, as you mentioned, I said the teams because of Arizona and because of LA. I think that just like we saw with a Pat Mahomes this past season, look, he is raw, and it's fine to say that. It's fine to say that he has plenty to learn. And so I think it would do him well to sit out a year, to not have baptism under fire. But when you consider how he can make plays with his leg, his arm talent, that he can make a lot of throws, that he doesn't turn the ball over a lot, that he's willing to take that sack. We see so many times these dual threat quarterbacks who think that their legs are going to be able to get them out of pressure situations, and they make really poor decisions. His legs are better than anyone else's legs at this position since Michael Vick, and he still understands that sometimes the best play is to just throw the ball away or to just eat it and take the sack. That's what I love about Lamar Jackson as a young prospect. And so because he has that instilled in him, and this isn't some recurring thing where he loves to throw the ball to the other team like two of the quarterbacks in the top four, Sam Darnold or a Josh Allen. I really like that. I think that continues into his professional career.
Jonathan, appreciate the time. Great article. Great column.
Thanks a lot, Rich.
You got it at jjones9.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.